Hi, I'm Erin Gray, pro beach volleyball player, and today I'm going to cover jump serving. I personally use the jump serve about 90% of the time. The only factor that will stray me away from jump serve is a really heavy wind. Other than that, I find the jump serve really effective for getting good teams out of system with passing. Now, when I go to jump serve, the first thing I do is look for wind. Right now, we have the wind blowing across or off of the court. So what I like to do is angle my body on the left side of the service line, facing the 5-6 or left corner of the opposite side of the court. There's a couple of reasons for that. The toss is very important when we talk about a jump serve. When the wind is blowing across the court, okay, it often blows the ball to the left. When I protect my body by putting it at an angle and I make sure that I get low and ready for a toss, it's going to help my toss get in a good proper position. Okay, let's talk about the toss a little bit. Over the years, I've done a million different things to try to perfect my toss. A couple things that I have learned that have really helped. First, I make sure that I get in a low ready position. I toss with my opposite hitting arm. I'm left-handed, so I often toss with my right hand. There are some jump servers that toss with the same hand, though I prefer tossing with the opposite. It's really a preference. Okay, so I'm in a low ready position with my right foot or opposite hitting foot forward. I'm facing the 5-6 or opposite corner of the court because of the wind today. When I get in my jump serve position, my toss, like I said, is really important. Two things you have to remember about the toss. First, you want to guide the ball. Okay, I've learned over the years that just snapping the ball, flipping your wrist from a low position causes the ball to move a lot in the wind. So I use the word guide as a reference when I'm talking about tossing. The higher I could release the ball, the less time it has to move. Okay, so when I'm tossing, I try to lift and guide the ball, releasing up high. Like I said, that gives the ball less chance to move in the wind. The other thing you want to remember when you're jump serving is to make sure you get the toss in your midline close to your hitting shoulder. Okay? A lot of times players will make the mistake of tossing too far to the right or too far to the left. Okay? Let's look if I toss too far to the left. If I were to toss over too far to my left of my hitting shoulder, what happens is that brings that shoulder outside my body line and I lose a lot of force. When you're jump serving, a lot of force comes from your core or your abs, okay? It's not all shoulder. We want to make sure that we keep compact and tight straight above our head so that we could use our core to get force. If I was to toss too far to my right, automatically my contact point drops, my elbow drops, and I'm hitting across my body. Almost every time I do this, I hit it right into the middle of the net. So you see how important a toss is. The two things to remember, you want to guide the toss, releasing from a high point. And the second thing to remember is to make sure we keep that ball on our midline close to our hitting shoulder. Now, I like to toss the ball about a foot into the court, okay? I like to give myself forward trajectory to get more power and force and to contact closer to the other side of the court. So we want to make sure, once again, we lift, guide the ball, we toss midline to our left shoulder, and we toss a little bit inside the court so that we're jumping forward into the ball. Okay, the next thing about a jump serve that we need to talk about is the actual contact. After we go ahead and toss the ball, we want to make sure that our hitting shoulder is back. We call this the bow. We want to make sure we're back in a bow position, ready to contact. As we're coming through, we want full extension out in front of us. Okay, this helps us contact at its highest point. When we contact the ball, we want to make sure we have a firm hand, contacting the ball with the palm, coming over and snapping. When we snap our wrist, we get a forward spin on the ball, which causes the ball to drop quickly over the net. Okay, so now we have our toss, our ready position. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our actual footwork to the ball. I'm a 3-step short approach jump server. I find this most useful because, like I said, when we're talking about the wind, when we're talking about hitting a ball outside, you have a lot of factors. You're not jumping on a hard, even surface. So I try to cut my error ratio by cutting the distance of an approach. Okay? My approach is pretty simple. I toss. After the toss is when I start my approach. My approach is a step, drive, and jump. Okay? So again, I toss, I release, I'm loaded, I step, drive, and contact. There are jump servers that like to start back a little farther and take a 4-step approach, which would be left, right, and then drive. It's a preference, like I said. I prefer a short distance approach. I've always been a short distance jump server, and it's always been really effective for me. The last thing I want to talk about with the jump serve is location. The jump serve can be really, really effective if you can move the ball around. I'd say 60 to 70% of my jump serve aces go right down the middle. Because my ball is moving at such a fast speed, when I serve down the middle, it gets each defender or passer on the other side of the net in a lot of trouble. Moving the ball around can be really effective for your jump serve. If I want to serve right down the middle, I can keep my hips pretty much square to the middle of the court on the other side. My contact is straight out in front of me, and my follow through is straight down to my hip. When I want to move my jump serve, cross court for instance, I take the same toss, the same approach, and as I contact, I'm just making a slight turn of my wrist. Okay? My hips still stay square, probably to the left angle on the opposite side of the court. The only difference there is I'm taking a little side spin, or a gunshot they call, a gunshot turn with my wrist. Okay? That will get the ball spinning off to the sideline. If I want to serve down the line, I sometimes alter my approach just a little bit to keep my hips more square to the area I want to serve. Again, I'm going to toss and contact straight out in front of me and follow through straight to my hip. So for me, when I'm jump serving down the line, I just make a slight turn with my hip. My approach stays the same. When I'm jump serving to the middle, I keep my hips straight towards the middle, contact straight out in front of me, and follow through down to my hip. If I want to jump serve cross court, I keep my hips square, same approach, and then I just follow through with a slight turn or a gunshot wrist snap to the side. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple jump serves, give you a demo of exactly how to put all 3 steps together for an effective serve. So now that you've seen the jump serve, the few things to remember: getting in a good position, using the wind as a guide on how you're going to position your body, a low ready, loaded position, toss, guiding the ball with a high release, Making sure that that toss is middle to left side of my hitting shoulder. Bringing my elbow back, contacting out in front of me, snapping my wrist, and following through. That's my tip for today. We'll see you at the beach.